Welcome to today's webinar. And today's webinar is very special. But before we dive into the session, quickly wanted to understand if I'm audible to all of you. If I'm audible, please do type a yes in the chat box, and also be quite active in the chat box by posting your questions out there. And also we have a very I would say a lot of activities planned for you during the session today. And so I would request you to be quite alert and be quite quick, I would say, when it comes to the chat box. So moving forward, as a lot of you are new to Galvanize, we would like to help you understand who we are and what exactly we do. So who we are. So Galvanize Global Education is actually founded and managed by alumni from top universities like Stanford, IIT Madras, and Ahmedabad. We help students right from their basic test preparation for exams like SAT, IELTS, TOEFL, JRA. And not only that, we do help students in their other activities with respect to admission counseling, where we help them with building the profile, helping them draft the documents like SOP, LOR, and many more such activities for the admission counseling part, which is there for bachelor's, master's, and doctorate degree. And not to forget, Galvanize is at your back for your last minute assistance for other activities with respect to helping you connect with the right loan provider, courier services, foreign exchange, and many more such activities. Happy to share that 1,000 plus universities across 18 plus countries, you would have seen Galvanized students present there. And not only that, we have helped our students across 140 plus specializations out there. Well, this is a very famous thread on Quora, and I won't take much of your time here. But I would request you to take a look at the thread. I'll share the thread in the chat box shortly. And here you would come to know from the students how their journey has been with Galvanize so far. Well, it's time for the first poll, and we would quickly like to understand out here. So the poll goes as to what is the reason that you're taking your IELTS test? Some of the options include study abroad, maybe for work or work abroad, job abroad, immigration purpose, or professional registration purpose. So we would quickly like to understand out here. Okay. Fair enough. I think by this we can end the poll now and we can see the results. Great. So majority of you are present for of course, for study abroad purpose. And we believe that the session would be quite useful for you as well. So moving forward, a little bit briefing about your host for today's webinar. We have with us Darshana. She's the verbal expert for IELTS at Galvanize Global Education. And a little bit about her background. She did her BTech graduate and started a career at Infosys before following her passion for teaching. And with 3 years, plus, I would say 3+ years of experience as a teacher at Whitehead Junior and Byju's Future School. She's with Galvanize, where she has helped numerous students realize their Dean for English proficiency scores and making it a significant impact in the language learning journey out there. We're very happy to have Darshana here today, and she's going to be your host for today's webinar. And without any further delay, a little bit I would say exciting thing that we would like to show for you is number one, be quite alert during the whole session because we have some free IELTS speaking mock test sessions provided to students, but that comes with some terms and conditions, and that include during the session, you will have to be quite quick, prompt, and I would say, most consistent participants will be getting an entire IELTS speaking section mock test for free. And not only that, but yes, of course, all the attendees for today's webinar, we have exclusive bonus for you, wherein we will be providing you with the a code wherein which will be shared with you in the chat box as well and on the screen, where you would be getting IELTS or IELTS plus GRE 90 course at the lowest price out there, and it would be for anyone who comes first and uses the code, and of course it will be valid for next 1 hour. So be quite alert, attentive, and not to forget, do post all your questions that you have for today's session out there. So I believe without any further delay, I would request Darshana to start with the session.
Hi, Ramya. Thank you for that introduction. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for turning up for this session in such a lovely number. I'm quite excited to bring in some interesting facts about the IELTS speaking section to you. So let us begin. So how to ace the IELTS speaking section? That's what we are going to look at today. But before we get to that, let's quickly brush up on the basics of what IELTS is and why are we writing the IELTS exam. Right? So the IELTS stands for International English Language Testing System, which is taken, it is a test that is taken by non-native English speakers to test their English language proficiency. Right? So this test is managed by British Council here, also by IDP, which is IELTS Australia, and University of Cambridge. Right? So the score, your IELTS score, is accepted by more than 10,000 institutions and is administered at more than 1,200 test centers in over about 140 countries. Right? And we have more than 3 million test takers every year. Okay. So now when it comes to the cost of IELTS, it is about $215 to $310 per attempt, which is approximately 16,250 rupees in India. Okay, so you have two versions of the IELTS. One is your computer-based test and one is your paper-based test. Right? And your IELTS is the dates on which your exams will occur are fixed in the beginning of the calendar year, and it will be conducted only on those dates. Right? And please note that once you give your IELTS test, your score is valid for 2 years from the date that you take the test. So suppose I have taken my test today, 21st of June. So it'll of 2023. It will be valid until the 20th of June 2025. Exactly 2 years from the test date. Okay. Excuse me. So what are you tested on? Your IELTS test, it is an English proficiency test, right? So it will test your overall competency and your ability to communicate comfortably in an English speaking academic environment. Okay. So what are you tested on? You're tested on 4 skills. I'm sure you must be aware of these: reading, listening, speaking, and writing. Right? So we'll just quickly look at the 4 sections in detail. Okay. So your reading section lasts for about 60 minutes. You will have 40 questions, which will be divided from 3 academic passages, right? And this is basically for testing you on how well you can understand and how well you're able to interpret the reading material that is provided to you. Because when you are going to go abroad to study, everything's going to be primarily in English, right? So how well you're able to read, understand, and put that back into right answers. So that's what your reading section is going to assess. Moving on to the listening section. This section will last for 30 minutes. Again, this one has 40 questions, which will be divided into 4 audios. Okay, so there will be 2 academic audios and 2 general audios, which each will have 10 questions. And this is the main reason why we have the listening section, is to check if you are able to understand regular spoken English in an English speaking country, in an academic environment, to be specific. Next comes your speaking section, which is the one that we're going to focus on mainly today. This will last somewhere between 11 to 14 minutes. Okay, there will be 3 parts. There will be 3 rounds of in the speaking test. And these will be based on general topics that you are already familiar with, right? And the main reason why we have the speaking skill included in the part of the IELTS is to check if you are able to speak fluently in English. Okay. Lastly, we'll move to the writing section, which is for 60 minutes. Here you will have 2 tasks, 2 essays basically. One will be an explanation from a given pictorial representation. It could be a graph, a diagram, a map, or anything. And then the other essay will be based on a prompt where you will have to write based on the prompt. Okay, so this section helps in checking your ability to write well write professionally, which is appropriate for your college or university. Okay, so to quickly summarize this, 4 sections: reading, listening, speaking, and writing. Okay, all the 4 sections will be graded on your 0 to 9 band scale. Okay, the reading section has 60 minutes, 40 questions, 3 passages. So each passage might have 12 to 14 questions. In your listening section, 30 minutes, 40 questions. 2 will be general, 2 will be academic, 10 questions each, so total 40. Speaking, again, it'll be graded from 0 to 9 scale, and 11 to 14 minutes, 3 parts. Writing, 60 minutes, 2 tasks. One will be from an image or some pictorial representation, and one will be directly on the topic given. Okay, so now here is your first quiz, and this will help you qualify for the freebie that Ramya mentioned in the beginning of the section, beginning of the session. So you will have about 7 to 8 questions at different points of the session, and the students who consistently answer right will win the freebie. Right? So what does IELTS stand for? So we'll give you 10 seconds to quickly type in your answer in the chat box. Okay, have we received enough responses? Shall we get going? Ramya, could you help me here? Do we have enough responses?
Yeah.
Okay, right. So let's look at the answer. So the IELTS stands for your International English Language Testing System, right? Okay. Now let's get into the main part of today's session, which is your IELTS speaking. Okay. So before that, let's try a fun exercise. Okay, so we are going to see an image, and I would like you all to describe this image. You can just in the chat box, you can just describe this image, whatever you see, whatever you are able to interpret from this image. Right. So this is probably a school or a university background where we see a few students who are talking and discussing about some study material. Probably there are 2 students on a Segway. We can see one student who's sitting below a tree and working on his computer. So this is how you describe an image, right? So now let's get to the point. So what is the purpose of the speaking section? So the main purpose of the speaking section is to ensure that you have the necessary speaking skills to survive in an English speaking academic atmosphere, right? Since most of you here selected that you're going to study, you are writing the IELTS because you want to go abroad to study, right? So when you want to, so India is not necessarily an English speaking country, right? It's not, our primary language is not English. So when you are going to move to a country where your primary language is English, you need to have certain, you need to be proficient in certain skills wherein you're able to read, listen, write, and speak comfortably in their main language, which is why we have the IELTS exam, right? Next, to assess your ability to speak on familiar topics. So your IELTS is not going to be specific to any particular course or any particular stream, right? It's all general. It's all general topics. Whatever you need to know, whatever information or knowledge that is required to write the IELTS, will be given to you during the exam itself. So there is no extra knowledge prep that you need. The only thing that you need to prepare for is to be able to think fluently in English. More than read, write, listen, and talk, you need to be able to think fluently in English. And you need to be able to organize your ideas before you speak them, right? So the test will assess your ability to speak on familiar topics, to organize your ideas and opinions fluently, so that you're able to think as you are speaking, and to use the right words in the right context. This is very important, because sometimes just to score better marks, we tend to use fancy words without knowing the right meaning or the right usage of that word. So that is something we need to be careful about. And also speak clearly without grammatical errors. That goes without saying, right? So next, what do you need to know about this section, right? So how long will this be? So your IELTS speaking section lasts for about 11 to 14 minutes, 14 minutes being the maximum, right? And what can you expect here? So there are three parts, right? Your personal round, booklet round, and abstract round. And how is your speaking section scored? It will be scored on a scale of 0 to 9. Okay, so a few more things that you might want to note here. Okay, so in some test centers, the speaking test might be conducted on the same day. So you might have it on the same day before you start your exam, or the writing part of it, or later. But it can be on the same day or up to 7 days before or after your test date. Okay. And whether you opt for the computer-based or paper-based test, the speaking section will be conducted like a face-to-face interview over a video call or in person. Okay, so even if it's over a video call, you will have your cameras on and it's going to be a face-to-face interview. And if it's in person, then you already know how it's going to be, right? So now we'll look at the three sections, the three parts of the speaking test in detail. Okay, so there are three rounds: the personal round, the booklet round, and the abstract round. Okay, now time for another quiz. So this is your quiz number 2. What is the due?
Hello, sorry to interrupt in between, Darshana, but a small request to all the participants, do post your answer to everyone so that we can select the right student accordingly. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes, okay. So what is the duration of the IELTS speaking test? Shall we close the answers now?
Yes.
Okay. So your speaking test lasts for about 11 to 14 minutes. We just discussed this, right? So yeah. Okay. So now we'll be looking at each of the rounds in detail. Okay. So coming to the personal round. Right. So this round will last maximum for around 5 minutes. So it will be somewhere between 3 to 5 minutes based on how you answer. Okay. So the questions here will be on two very personal topics. Okay. So it could be about your favorite food, your home, the city or town that you are from, or the country that you are from, or your likes, your dislikes, your friends, family. Could be any general topic, right? And so there will be a topic, and then there will be a set of questions under each topic. So this is going to be a chat, a formal chat that you are going to have with your examiner. So you will have no preparation. Okay. So what you have to do here is stay calm, speak slowly and clearly. Okay. You don't have to rush your answers because there's no preparation time. You can think and speak. You can take a pause for a second or two and then start speaking. And another thing about this section is you know that there is no right or wrong answer, because this is about you. So you choose what you want to say or what you don't want to say. Okay, but make sure that whatever you are saying very clearly, that it is heard and understood by the examiner. Right? Now, how to answer questions in your personal round. So there will be two sets of questions. Okay, there will be two different topics. Under each topic, there will be about 4 to 5 questions each. Okay, so it could be about you, which could include your job, your studies, etc. Or it could be about your interests, so food, sports, music, movies, uh, basically anything. Okay, now your speaking session will generally start with the question of introducing yourself. So the examiner is going to ask you, can you please introduce yourself, right? So since you know that this is coming, it would be nice if you could prepare a short introduction of yourself for about 4 to 5 lines, not too long. 4 to 5 lines is the maximum, about let's say 3 to 5 lines. Okay, where you have your name, where you are from, what you are doing, and why are you giving the IELTS, like which country are you planning to go. Okay, so just these 3 or 4 questions, if you answer, it's pretty much enough. Just be very confident in this, because you know this question is coming. This is like the question paper has been leaked and you know this is definitely coming. So prepare an answer to this question really well, right? And make a very good first impression with this question itself. Okay, now all the other questions also are going to be about yourselves, right? So just don't get nervous, feel very comfortable, because it's about you. Only you know what the correct answer is or the wrong answer is. The examiner has no idea. So whatever you are speaking, just speak very comfortably, very calmly, but loud enough that your examiner is able to hear you clearly, right? And yeah, answer the question slowly and clearly. So what makes this personal round easy? You're going to be quizzed on your personal facts, right? So only you know the answer key. Only you know the cheat code to this. The examiner doesn't, right? So this is one thing where it makes it very easy for you. So you have all the information in your mind, right? You don't need to look up, or don't need to think too much about it. Just say whatever you are comfortable saying, because there is no correct answer. Okay, so the examiner obviously does not know what you are saying is true or not. So speak how much you are comfortable sharing with the examiner, and whatever you're saying, say it confidently. Okay, so like I mentioned in the beginning, this is like a formal chat that you are having with the examiner. So you can opt a semi-formal tone. Okay, it can't be casual and it doesn't have to be too formal. A semi-formal tone should do. Okay, so now let's look at a sample of the personal round. Okay, so let's say the topic that is given to you is languages. Okay, so the examiner might start after your introduction. The examiner might start with the question saying, how many languages do you speak? And then you will answer, and then comes the next question. Why did you choose to study these languages, and how did you learn these languages, or how long have you been learning these languages, or would you say it's a difficult language to learn, right? So these are all questions that are very generic, very general, and only you know the right answer to this, right? So even if you say you know French, the examiner is not going to ask you to talk something in French, because it's an English exam, right? So it's just going to be about French, that when you learned it, why you learned it, and those kind of things, right? But don't tell a lie that will be too obvious. If you don't know something, it's better not to mention it. Okay, but there is no right and wrong answer. So now let's hear a sample response to this.
So first, let's talk about languages. How many languages do you speak?
I speak 3 languages: English, Tamil, and French.
And why did you choose to study those languages?
Tamil is my mother tongue, and English I've learned and practiced since my school days. For French, I decided to learn it as I'm fascinated by the language and its culture. So I also hope to visit the country someday.
How long have you been learning these languages?
I'm not learning any language at the moment, but I attended French classes for 8 years.
How did you learn these languages?
As I mentioned before, Tamil is my mother tongue, and English was a part of my curriculum ever since kindergarten. But I began learning French only since the ninth grade. It was a part of my school curriculum, but because I wanted to improve my proficiency, I also enrolled in additional language classes as well.
Would you say that they're difficult languages to learn?
Since I've been speaking Tamil for a very long time, as I can remember, I don't think I would be a best judge of its difficulty, but I would say that just like English, Tamil can be grasped with practice. If you're good at English, then you should not have much trouble with French, as the alphabets are more or less the same.
Now let's talk about television. How many hours a day do you watch television?
I watch television for about 2 hours per day.
And what type of television programs do you like to watch?
Well, my tastes are quite diverse. I like to watch everything from mystery to thriller shows.
So, which is your favorite television program and why?
There are many television programs that I enjoy, like Sherlock and Stranger Things, but I think my all time favorite would be Friends. I like it because it has a bit of everything and it also has a diverse and relatable cast.
Do you prefer watching television shows or movies?
I think I prefer watching movies, though I enjoy television shows, they require time commitment. With movies, I can get my entertainment fix without the pressure of having to complete an entire series.
All right. So I hope with this you have a rough idea of how the questions will be asked and how you are expected to answer, right? So you speak softly but clearly, which is audible enough to your examiner, okay? So here are some more questions that you might want to take a screenshot of to practice. All right. So with this, we come to the end of our personal round, the first round, and it's time for another quiz. So how many rounds do we have in the IELTS speaking test and what are they? So you need to give the number and the names of the sections. Right. Ramya, could you help me with the responses? Do we have enough responses?
Yes, we are having a couple of responses out there.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
So, so your speaking test has 3 rounds, the personal round, the booklet round, and the abstract round. So students who've got this right are on your way to get the freebie at the end of the session. All right, so with this, we move on to our second round, which is the booklet round, right? So this round is one that most students are afraid of, or most students find this round a little bit challenging. So let's see how we can simplify the process of practicing for this round, right? So this round will also last for about 5 minutes, okay? 5 minutes is the maximum here again. So this is a booklet based round, right? So you will be given a booklet which will have a question. Yeah, you have to read the question and the set of instructions that are mentioned. After which you will be given 1 minute to prepare for the test, for the round, right? For your speech. So in this 1 minute, you can read through the question and you can prepare your answer. So you can write down keywords which you want to include in your answer. Okay. So after this, so you have 1 minute to prepare and 2 minutes to speak, right? So after you have finished speaking, if the examiner is not clear about something that you have said, or if they have some questions in their mind, there might be some follow-up questions. Right? What you need to do in the 1 minute that you are given, take notes covering all the instructions, all the questions that are mentioned, and get ready to speak at least for 2 minutes. So 1 minute to prepare, 2 minutes to speak, at least 2 minutes. You can go up to 2.5 minutes or 3 minutes. That's okay. Okay, not beyond 3 minutes though. Okay, so how to answer questions in the booklet now? So you will be given clear instructions and the questions will be given to you in the booklet itself. There will be a topic and there will be a few questions in the booklet. Okay, so you need to first talk about the topic, then with the follow-up questions. Okay, you'll have 1 minute to read, prepare. And so yeah, so what do you do in the preparation time? Take notes, write down keywords to help you answer better. Okay, so how do you do that the most easier way? Once you have the topic, try to understand what the topic is, visualize the topic, right? So maybe it could be from a movie, a book, or television program. Yeah, so just visualize it in a way that is comfortable to you, so that it becomes easy to describe all the necessary details, right? So the easiest way to develop this is, once you have your topic in hand, try to ask yourself 6 questions. What is the topic about? Who are involved in that topic? When did that occur, or when is it likely to occur? Where is it, or what, the location, where, why, and how? Okay, so once you've answered these 6 questions, then move to the questions that are given in the booklet itself. After your topic, you will be having like 1 or 2 questions. So answer those 1 or 2 questions as well. Okay, so with this, if you have covered enough information, you might not have follow-up questions, which is very good. Okay, but if you have not covered everything, you might have follow-up questions, or if the examiner wants some additional information, they might ask you some follow-up questions. Okay, that's the thing I told you. If you provide enough details, if you have answered everything that is possible about the topic, the examiner might not have anything to ask you. So you will face fewer follow-up questions. Okay, so make sure that you elaborate on your point sufficiently and have the ball in your court. You speak about all that you want comfortably, so you're not worried about what the examiner is going to ask you next and what you have to answer for it. Okay, so make note of these 6 questions that you should ask when you want to develop your response: what, who, when, where, why, and how. Okay, after this, look at the questions in your booklet, answer those also. So you will have about 8 to 10 lines of answers already with you, right? So once that is done, there will be hardly anything left for the examiner to ask you, which is a win-win for you. Okay, and make sure that all the points that you note are long enough to cover at least 2 minutes or a little more than that. Okay, so again, you don't need to worry about the topics. These are also going to be very general topics for which you will not require any special knowledge or any information that you might want to read up on. Okay, so let's look at one sample question. Okay, the question says, describe any tourist site that you have visited. Okay, so like we saw, we will want to address this. So what tourist site? Who did you go with? When did you go? Where is that tourist site located? Why did you go to that tourist site, and how is it special to you? Maybe these are the questions. These 6 questions you can answer first. Okay, then where? So where we had already covered. Okay, then why also you had already covered, and what you remember about the place. So this is something that you can add on after these 6 questions. So this would become your 7th point. And then explain why you would recommend this to others. So you can talk about 3-4 sentences about why you want to recommend. So you will automatically have about 12 lines of speech ready. So after this, you just need to add on whatever you can as you are speaking, as you remember something that you can, or you might want to add on. Okay, so once you have about 12 to 15 lines, 2 minutes will easily pass through. Okay, so you can comfortably go beyond 2 minutes with just those 6 questions and these questions that you cover. Okay, so after this also, if the examiner is not yet satisfied with your answer, or if the examiner has any doubts anywhere, they might ask you some follow-up questions. Follow-up questions do not mean that you have scored lesser. Don't panic there. Don't get agitated there. There's nothing wrong. The examiner simply might want to just know something more, so they might ask you a follow-up question. A follow-up question does not affect your score, but it is just easier and more comfortable for you when you speak it out rather than someone asking you questions. which is why we say that you give enough description that there's nothing left for the examiner to ask. Okay, so let's listen to the sample response for the tourist destination.
You can give a response.
Okay. I visited the Gateway of India with my family about 10 years ago. So we went to Mumbai on vacation and couldn't miss the chance to see the famous monument before we left. I remember that we took a taxi to reach the monument. The ride lasted for several hours due to Mumbai traffic. It was exciting as I had never visited a key Indian landmark before. When we reached at the gateway, I realized that it was much larger than I had expected. The monument overlooks the Arabian Sea, and the constant sound of the waves can be heard as we near the gateway. I remember that it was quite cloudy that day when we visited, though it did not rain. We didn't get very close to the monument itself, but we still have the photographs that we took that day. One aspect of the trip that really stuck with me was feeding the pigeons. Hundreds of pigeons crowd around the monument all day long, and back then tourists were also allowed to feed them birdseed. This was before the ban on feeding the pigeons was put in place. I was quite nervous due to the sheer number of birds, but I was so happy to see them, and they flocked around us, and we fed them seeds. It was a memorable experience. I would definitely recommend visiting this site to anyone who has an opportunity to. So it is one of the key landmarks of India's heritage. I would especially recommend that they visit the monument at night, as the structure is lit with beautiful lights, and it appears quite beautiful. I miss seeing that view, but I hope to visit again someday.
All right. So this is how you can respond in the booklet round, right? So she spoke exactly for 2 minutes, right? So here is another question. You can take a screenshot of this if you would like to practice on this. Okay. So with this, we come to the end of round 2, which is our booklet round. And here is another quiz for you. So how is the time divided for the booklet round? So how much time do you have for the booklet round? And how is the split? Like how much do you need to prepare? How much do you need to speak? Right. So do we have enough responses, Ramya?
Yes, we have.
Okay, right. So here is your answer. So you have 1 minute to prepare. You will not be given more than 1 minute to prepare, but you can speak for 2 minutes or a little more than that. Maximum up to 2.5 minutes. Right? Okay. So let's move on to the final round, the abstract round. Okay, so your abstract round is again for approximately 5 minutes. Okay, so here your questions will be completely opinion based, related to it. It'll most probably be related to the topic in your booklet round. Okay, so here also you will have 2 parts of questions. So one might be from the booklet round and one could be something related to that. There will be some connection basically. Okay, so what this round necessarily does is it tests your ability to think critically and put it in words, right? So what you need to do, you need to listen to the question very, very carefully. You take a couple of seconds before answering. You process the answer. You organize it in your mind, how you want to start, what points do you want to put next, and how you want to end it. Okay, and you provide clear reasons. Okay, so if you're choosing one side of the for an opinion-based thing, if you choose one side, you stick to that side, and you provide clear reasons to convince the examiner. Okay, so the questions in this round would usually be similar to the theme of your booklet round, right? So you listen to the instructions and questions very carefully, whatever the examiner is asking you. Process your question, take a second, pause, think about it, and then start responding. Now, this is again your opinion. It is your own opinion. Nobody can change it, right? So there is no right answer. There is no wrong answer. And your score will not depend on what you have chosen. Okay, no matter you choose for or against, it doesn't matter. You will be only scored on your English proficiency, how fluently you are speaking, the lesser grammatical errors that you make, and your vocabulary, right? So, what should you do to succeed in the abstract round? So you state or explain your view on the topic. If you are for it or against it, state it clearly. Give relevant examples to prove your point. Okay. After examples, explain how or why your point is valid or why something is happening, which is again taking stand of the point that you chose. Okay. Also, you can mention that, say, what could, should, would, might happen if this is chosen, whatever good it does to you. Okay. And if there is a problem that you feel, you can suggest a solution to it. After doing all this, if you want to slightly mention a little about the opposite, so if you're chosen for, if you want to mention something about the against, you can do it in a line or two, only if it is relevant and necessary. Otherwise, don't. But make sure whatever you say does not make you sound like a diplomatic. Okay, you cannot have diplomatic answers. Whatever you say should be convincing enough to prove your stand. If you have chosen for, all that you say should be supporting of for only. It cannot support against. If you end up messing there, and if there is some sort of a diplomacy that is noticed, then you might end up losing points. So if you have chosen for, stand for for. If you have chosen against, stand for against. Whatever you speak, state it clearly, give examples, explain, prove your point of what this might lead to. And if there is a problem there, give a solution to it. Right? So let's look at this. So in our booklet round, we saw about a tourist attraction. Right? So now the questions in your abstract round will be related to that. So travel. So how do people generally choose holiday destinations? And why do you think tourism and travel are so developed now? So all these questions don't have a right or wrong answer. These are just your opinion of what you think it is better. Do you think it is better to travel alone or in groups? And why? So whenever you answer any question, if it's just saying, if it's just a yes or no answer, don't stop with a yes or no. If you've chosen yes, say yes and explain why. If you choose no, say no and explain why. For any question where you have a one-word answer, which is a very obvious one-word answer that you can think of, once you have answered that, explain why. Okay, don't let the examiner ask you why. Before the examiner can ask you, you answer. That will help you. That will make you look more confident, and that will help you look like you actually know what you're talking about, which will help you get better scores. Okay, so after travel, the next follow-up question might be tourism. So what are the impacts of tourism in your country? And do you think tourism can also have a negative impact, and why? And what kind of attractions in your country could potentially draw tourists in the future, right? So let's listen to a sample response to this one.
So let's talk about travel now. How do people generally choose holiday destinations?
Usually, people choose their holiday destination by considering various factors such as budget, the time of the year they would like to travel, and the type of experience they are looking for. For example, if they want to go trekking, then hill stations would be the best choice.
And why do you think tourism and travel are so developed now?
Since tourism has become an important contributor to the country's economy, the measures taken to promote it has also increased. That's why I think there's been a growing interest among people towards traveling as well.
And do you believe it is better to travel alone or in groups?
Although traveling in groups could be fun, I personally would like to travel alone. I believe so because traveling alone gives one a soulful experience. It can push you out of your comfort zone and even motivate you to rely on yourself to discover your best strengths. It will also help you gain confidence to meet new people and visit new places.
Okay. Okay, now let's move on to tourism. What are the impacts of tourism in your country?
So, tourism in India has created a lot of job opportunities, which has improved the country's economy as well. It has helped promote cultural awareness and preserve local culture and traditions as well.
Do you think tourism can have a negative impact?
Of course, tourism is not without its disadvantages. Some of the serious impacts of tourism are overcrowding, damage to natural environment, and overpricing of local products due to increased demand. In some worst case scenarios, it could also lead to displacement of local population.
And what kind of attractions in your country could potentially draw tourists in the future?
There are various cultural practices and traditions in India. So I think organizing an annual cultural event for each state, representing the unique folk arts, dance, music, food, and literature of its traditions will help attract more tourists.
All right. So that's how you should be answering in your abstract round. Okay. So here is another set of questions. You can take a screenshot of this to practice. Right. So with this, we come to the end of all the 3 rounds of our speaking section. So here is another quiz for you. So what questions should you address in your booklet round response? So like I told you, once you are given the topic, you answer a set of questions. What are those questions that you answer in your booklet round to prepare for your answer? Right.
Yeah, Darshana, we have quite responses. We can
Okay.
go ahead.
Fine, lovely. Okay, so different questions that you address are what, who, when, where, why, how, right? Okay, so with this, we have come to the end of all the 3 rounds. Now let's look at some strategies and tips for improving your vocabulary and speech for the speaking section of your IELTS. Right? So here are some tips that can help you improve your score. Okay, so whenever the examiner is asking you a question, listen to the examiner very, very carefully. Okay, it shouldn't be like the examiner is asking you when and you start answering for where. Okay, so listen to what the examiner is asking very carefully before you start speaking. Okay, make a good first impression, because it's initially the examiner will decide within the first 2 questions. The examiner will have decided that your score is going to be somewhere between 6 and 7. So after this, all you can do is try to go beyond, like, take it to the higher number. So your first impression is what matters, because that gives the range, that sets the range in the mind of the examiner. Okay, so first itself, if you give them an impression that you're an 8-band student, then after that, all your follow-up answers, it will just reduce maximum to 7.5, not beyond that, right? So try to make your best first impression, make it 9, so that even if it drops down, it's only to 8.5, which is going to be great. Right? Process the examiner's question completely before you begin to respond. So understand what the examiner has asked you and then start responding. You can take 1 or 2 seconds to think and then start responding. Stay confident, answer your questions slowly and clearly. You don't have to be extremely loud, but loud enough that the examiner is able to hear you. Your pace shouldn't be too slow, not too fast. It should be clear and legible, basically. Right? And you may ask the examiner to repeat the question if required, if you have not understood the question at all, or if you're not clear and if you have a doubt. But don't overdo it. Don't keep asking the examiner to repeat every question, because the examiner might get annoyed and it might show up on your scores. We don't want that. So asking them to repeat 1 or 2 questions casually is okay, not too much. Okay, so for all that you speak, there is no correct answer. All that it's your it's about you, it's your personal thing, it's your opinions and all of that. So you can feel free to say whatever you are comfortable speaking with. Right? Opinions are yours. So when you answer for an opinion-based thing, but state valid reasons to support your answers, give enough examples and explain it well. And if there is a problem, solutions to it. Okay. And in your part 2, in your booklet round, make short notes by answering all the WH questions quickly, write all the keywords, and then start speaking. So you have 1 minute to prepare, make the best use of that 1 minute. Okay. So some general tips for your IELTS speaking test. Okay, so don't worry about your accent. Your examiner might not be from the same local accent. He or she might be from a different country and they might have a different accent, but that doesn't matter. As long as you are speaking clearly and they're able to understand what you are speaking, your accent does not matter at all. So just be loud, calm, and clear. Okay. And whenever you are talking about anything, focus on covering all the possible and relevant points. If you're saying yes, also answer why yes. If you're saying no, why no. In your round 2, cover all your WH questions. For everything else, whatever you are stating, don't give one word answers at all. This is an English test. So your answers have to be full framed, structured sentences. And probably for every question, if you can give a 2 to 3 line answer, that would be great. Okay, but don't talk too long that the examiner gets bored also. Stick to 2 to 3 lines, not more than that for the first and third rounds, right? Provides sufficient context for personal topics. Now, if you're talking about your city, the examiner has no idea where you are coming from and what your city is. So provide sufficient context for that. Okay, it shouldn't be like whatever. No, you have to have details, clear details. So give enough examples, explain it well so that it is clear whatever you are talking about. Just think that the examiner has no idea of what that thing is or what that place is, and then start describing, like how probably you're explaining it to a kid, just in a more formal tone. But make sure all the points that you will explain are explained so that anybody who has no idea about that topic might also get an idea of it. This you don't have to do it for general questions, but any question that is specific or related to your specific region, then you do it. Like if you're going to talk about Diwali, then not everybody might know what Diwali is. So when you're talking about that, give enough context. This is just an example, but you get the point, right? So also when you start answering, if you are, if you're not very confident or something, use conversation markers like I honestly have no idea. So even when you're saying that you don't know about it, just don't say I don't know. That doesn't look nice. Say it very confidently that I honestly have no idea. And if you said something wrong, start with sorry, I meant to say this and not this. Okay, so this makes you sound confident. Conversation markers help you sound very confident that you are proficient with the language and you're already thinking in English, which is going to actually help you in surviving comfortably in an English-speaking academic country and environment, basically. And so if there's a question that you don't know much about, then you can say, I've never really thought about that before. And if you want to contradict something that the examiner has stated, you can say, well, but that's not how I think about it. And, this is not how it is. Or, and if you didn't hear the question right, confidently ask them, I'm sorry, could you please repeat that question? Okay, so you can use all this in cases where you don't know the answer or where you don't know how to speak. But whatever you say it confidently. Just don't say a blank, I don't know, or I've not heard of that. Use sentences that sound appealing, like I honestly have no idea about that. Okay, right. So should you be worried about your vocabulary? Not really. You don't have to use fancy words all through it, but it would be nice to use a variety of words in your response, okay? So that your response doesn't sound flat, monotonous, right? Some words make it sound like, oh, this person knows what they're talking, right? So we need you to use those kind of words. But if you are not confident about a word, do not use it. You might know the meaning of that. You might know the textbook meaning of that word. You might know the synonyms, but you might not know how to place it in a sentence. If you are not sure about it, please avoid using it, because using it wrong will lead you to negative marking. Might as well not use it. So it won't be considered at all. So it doesn't come up at all, right? So you do not have to use any complicated words to impress your examiner. If you are not familiar with the meaning or with the sentence structure or where you have to place it, please avoid using it. Okay. Now, your accent affect your score? No. As long as your idea is clearly conveyed and your response are clear and intelligible, you don't have to worry. Okay. So whatever you are speaking, it just has to be loud and clear and understood by the examiner. That's all that matters, right? A speaking session assesses how well you are able to present your points in an efficient and coherent manner. It does not test your accent. You do not have points for your accent. Instead of faking an accent and losing points, might as well just be yourself, be confident, right? And be extremely careful about your pronunciations, okay? If you're not sure, do not use it. But if you use it, make sure you use it right, okay? You use a casual tone. It should not be completely casual, like you can't say hey and all of that. It has to be semi-formal. Okay, you don't have to be extremely formal, but you can't be casual. It has to be semi-formal. No slang words, absolutely. Try to avoid fillers like like all of that too often. Okay. And do not speak in a monotonous tone. Try to use some long sentences, some short sentences. Have a mix, have a comfortable mix of it so that it doesn't sound too flat. Okay. Also, when you are speaking, have some change in your tonality, like show excitement if you are for something, and show disappointment if if you miss something or if there's something that's not going according to you. This variation will also make you look more confident, which will give you a boost in your scores. Okay, so other things that you might want to know: provide sufficient context, especially for demographic region. This is what the Diwali example was for, right? If it's something about you, then give enough substance, give enough information about it. Okay, and whenever you're talking, just don't say yes or no, or don't give one word answers. Give sentence answers, and make sure your sentence is not flat sentence. Just you take everything from the question and just place your answer there. No, try to have enough information in every sentence that you speak. Alternate between short and long sentences and simple and complex sentences. Whenever you are talking, this is very important. Maintain an eye contact. Be very careful of your posture and body language, because all of this subconsciously boosts your score. Okay, so with this, we are at the end of our session. Time for a quiz again. So how long is your IELTS score valid? Can somebody tell me how long is the test score valid? Answers in the chat box, please. All right. We're good to go? Okay. So yes, we stop answers there, and the IELTS test score is valid for 2 years from the test date. Okay. So now a little about Galvanize. So show you how the course is organized and how the IELTS course is at Galvanize. So with this, we have some standard features that are offered here. We have about 10 hours of video lessons where each and every topic, each and every grammatical aspect will be explained to you in detail. You will have about 450 plus practice questions for all the 4 modules, and you will receive a personalized feedback for every test that you give. Okay, so all these tests, so we will have 3 complete full-length mock tests, IELTS style mock test, which is going to exactly mimic how your IELTS test is. Okay, so you'll be giving 3 of those. You will be allocated course managers who are going to be personally in touch with you and who are going to motivate you. And you have an ask an expert feature where you can ask any number of doubts or any number of explanations that you want on the platform itself. Okay, so this is how your study plan will look like. So we will give you a day order study plan wherein for every day we will have a set of activities planned based on your review. Then we'll have some video lessons. And then after, you'll have a short test based on which again we will review your responses and tell you where you can improve and what mistakes you have done and all of that. So this is how your sections will look. So you'll have an audio being played and stuff. You'll have to look at it's exactly how your IELTS test is going to be, basically, right? So if there's a pictorial representation and if you have to write about it, or exactly how it goes on. Okay, for speaking, you will have a mock test, a live mock test, wherein you will be speaking with one of the instructors. So you can book it through the platform itself. You can book a session on weekdays between 4 to 6 p.m. And you will have a live mock test with one of our examiners, which will be exactly how your IELTS video test would be. Okay, so and all your scores will be shown to you, and you can use this to upgrade yourself, to practice better and to improve on the sections that you need improvement with. Okay, and this is a snapshot of the feedback that you will receive. So it will be on the content that you have used, the punctuations, grammar, vocabulary, sentence structure. All these aspects will be considered in your feedback to help you improve and ace the IELTS test, right? And this is your Ask Your Expert feature, where whatever doubts you have, you can post your doubt and you will receive answers for your doubts, clarifications for your doubt. Now, we'll just look at some learning data by for one of our students. So when they started off then with the diagnostic test, in reading, he scored only 7, but in his actual IELTS, we were able to get his score up to 9. Right. So for all the different sections, you can see from 7, 7.5, 6.5, he had improved quite a bit to 9, 8, 7.58. So his total score from 7.5, we were able to bring it up to 8.5. Right. And in the next one as well, he started off with 6.5 in reading and reached up to 8. Listening was good, speaking and writing were good. So overall, his reading required improvement, which is where from 7.5, he moved up to 8. Right. So this is the kind of improvement that our students have undergone, and there have been over 1,000 different students in about 1,000 different universities now. Okay, so with this, we are at the end of our session. We have completed the session. Now you have the last bonus questions, which will help you win your freebie for today. So here's your first bonus question. How much time is allocated each section of the IELTS exam? The overall IELTS exam, you have different sections, right? So for all the sections, how much time for each of the section? Have we received responses? All right. So the time allocated for each of the sections: reading 60 minutes, listening 30 minutes, speaking 11 to 14 minutes, and writing another 60 minutes. Okay. So with this, the last question for your quiz. At Galvanize, how many mock tests do we assist you in preparing the actual IELTS exam? So how many mock tests do we give you to improve your score? Yes, has anyone got that right? Perfect. Okay. So yes, most of you have answered this right. We have 3 mock tests to help you ace the actual IELTS exam. All right. So with this, I will hand over the session to Ramya. Ramya.
Am I audible now?
Yes.
Great. So yeah, I think I'll share my screen out there, and till the time we give a short break to Darshana, wherein she takes a look at some of the questions posted by students out there, as they have a couple of questions. We would quickly like to help you run through about Galvanize as to how we can help you out there with your test prep journey out there, and as well as the admissions part. So a little bit about the first poll that we have before we dive into the session about in detail about Galvanize. So the poll to question says, please describe the stage you are in right now, whether you're thinking of taking the IELTS test, or you're preparing for the test, or you've already booked the test and you have already completed and thinking to retake the test. So this will help us understand, speak to you more in detail. Okay, I think we can stop the poll and just take a look at the results. Great. A lot of you are preparing for this test right now, and a couple of you are thinking to take the test. So that's great. And a lot of you have booked. So great. So I think majority of you are still preparing for this test. We would like to help you understand a little bit about how we can help you, and a little bit more about you in the next poll that we would like to see is, yeah, so it's time for the third poll out there, and the poll goes as to how would you like to prepare for these IELTS test. Number one, is it for self preparation, or you're looking for an in-person live class, live online classes, or online courses with a structured personalized plan? So yeah. Okay, I think we can end the poll and look at the results. Great. So a lot of you are looking at self prep, as well as people, a lot of you are looking at online courses with a structured study plan as well. So yeah. Moving forward, we would like to help you understand that Galvanize does have free mobile applications for your vocabulary, which I believe, and Darshana also said, which is important for your IELTS prep out there. So we do have a famous GRE vocabulary app. We have GRE app, SAT app. But in case a lot of you are looking for some more assistance with respect to personalized preparation material, we do have our online courses for IELTS, TOEFL, GRE, and SAT. And not only that, but yes, we have our admission counseling as well. Well, here I would like to talk a little bit about what are the perks and advantages of taking the test prep with Galvanize Global Education. Number one, as I saw a lot of you had mentioned that you would like to take something with respect to a personalized online prep out there, and this platform really does that for you. So you will have a personalized study plan based on your preparedness level, and then you will also have unlimited ask an expert, where you can ask all your content related doubts cleared, and analytic reports and feedbacks that will be provided to you while you're preparing for the exams out there. And not only that, you will have extensive practice questions and full and mock tests for GRE, TOEFL, IELTS out there. And some of the advantages, I would say, number one is the updated test pattern at most affordable rate, as a lot of us do consider the course fee as well, and it would be at most affordable rate for you, with complete solution and easy way of learning without making it very difficult for you, and helping you understand the basics, and then gradually with practice making you expert out there with expert guidance out there. A little bit about how the admission counseling process goes at Galvanize. It begins with an online profile evaluation call, where onboarding we speak to our students by understanding their profile, based on which we help them with university shortlisting with ambitious, practical, and safe. And then moving towards documentation with respect to profile building, resume, LOR, SOP, and Then moving towards your visa, where we help you with university finalization, videos for application process, mock interview videos out there. And once you're done with the visa, we help you with guiding for the loan. And then you fly to your dream university with pre-departure activities that Galvanize generally provides, wherein we help you with travel tickets, foreign exchange, and many more such activities out there. And as I said, these are some of the additional services that Galvanize Global Education provides to students who are planning for higher education abroad. We help you with the we help you with foreign exchange, helping you with the air tickets, and many more such activities out there. So here we go. As I mentioned earlier in the webinar, where we have an exclusive offer for students for today's webinar, where we have the IELTS prep. And here's the link which is given to you, and it is also being shared in the chat box. So if you are interested and you would like to make use of this opportunity, do instantly click on the chat box or a link that is shared with you, so that you can start with your preparations at affordable course fee structure and with expert guidance, I would say. So I would like to freeze the screen here for some time, so that you can take a screenshot of this page, and or you can also take a look at the chat box, where we have given you the code out there. Please note, the code will be valid for next 1 hour, and it will be provided to any students who would like to go in the first come out there. So also, I would like to request you to post your questions on the chat box, so that our webinar host Darshana could address them and help you clear your doubts out there. I believe a lot of you would have made a note of the code out there, and it's also been shared in the chat box. So do check your chat box and make use of this particular opportunity out there. And now we are open to the Q&A session. So I would love to stop sharing my screen, and we can get in touch with you with the numbers that is mentioned here, in case you have more personalized questions, or you would like to get in touch with us and understand how it has been, how we help students across. Please make note of our contact details, and we would be there to help you out there.
Yeah. So do we have any questions? A few questions that I could spot. I'll start with answering them. So how much time to spare for each question in general is one of the questions that asked. So there's no time frame for each question. In round 1 and round 3, for every question that the examiner has asked you, just speak for 2 to 3 lines, like I mentioned in the beginning. State an answer and then give a reason to why you have stated that answer. That's all. Or if it's about your place, like which city, then you say that the city that I come from is New Delhi, and it is also the capital of India. Something like that, just to add on to like New Delhi. So New Delhi is the capital of India. Just something to add on to it, 2 to 3 lines maximum, not too much. Yes, Avadhesh has questions. Yes, you can type in the question in your chat box. Any questions? Any other questions? Does pen, paper, or computer-based exam differ except the obvious ones? No, there is no difference. In your pen and paper, you will be writing the answers. In your computer-based, you'll be typing your answers, or you'll be choosing. That's all. Otherwise, there won't be any major difference in the question types, to be specific. Does all universities accept the computer-based course? Yes, all universities do accept the computer-based course. We can get back to you on the details in the next session, maybe. How many months is the course? So based on when you have booked your IELTS test, you can let us know and we will create a study plan based on the number of days that you have available. Which is better, IELTS or TOEFL, that you have to decide based on the country and the university that you are going to get into. So GRE is a different session. You can follow up with the group.
Sure,
For the
we will
yeah.
get in touch with the student for the GRE.
Yeah. I think that's about it then. I don't IDP, I think you have the option to send it to 5 universities directly from IDP. But more details on that, I think we'll have to get back to you.
If there are no more questions, Darshana, would you like to give some last minute tips to our students out there? Do you have any advice for them?
The basic advice is going to be just to be calm, be confident, because IELTS speaking test is one where you own your answers. The examiner has no idea what your right answer is going to be, or because there is no right or wrong answer. It's your opinion. It's about you. All these questions are based on your experiences or your life or something that's very personal to you. Right? So the ball is in your court in this exam. Just be confident and speak about yourself. Make sure you are speaking very clearly, speaking loud enough that the examiner is able to hear you. Not too loud, but not too soft either. Just enough that you're audible. Right? And confidence is key. Practice more. Try to speak to everybody around you in English, maybe, with your friends. And I mean, if not at home, at least with your friends or with others who are taking the IELTS exam. Try to do that. At Galvanize, we can give you good practice sessions. We'll have 3 live mock tests where you will be speaking to an actual teacher or an actual examiner to give you a better experience and a better guidance on where you are going wrong and how you can improve. So I think all of this will help you.
Great. Thank you so much, Darshana, for being with us today and helping students know more about the IELTS prep journey out there. And we believe that this session was quite useful for all the students out there. And yes, of course, we will share our contact details, and the link is also reflecting in the chat box, wherein you can get in touch with us and get to know more about how Galvanize can help you out there. And not to forget, yes, of course, the code is valid for next 1 hour. So make the best use of this code. And I will also share the contact in the chat box so that you can make a note and get in touch with us out there.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much for attending this session and staying till the end.
Also, we would like to share one another important aspect out there today. So that would be with respect to a profile evaluation call that we have there for you. We have kept for you, wherein you could get in touch with us. You can enroll for this particular profile evaluation link, and you can get to know more about how well we can help you build your profile out there with respect to taking it forward out there. And here are our contact details. You can get in touch with us and we'll be there to help you out there.
Just a minute before we are evaluating your responses to declare the winner who gets a freebie today. So this winner gets an entire online IELTS speaking mock test session. The name of the student is Priya Bilani.
Congratulations, Triya Bilani. You have been quite attentive throughout the session and you have answered a lot with great accuracy out there. So congratulations for winning this, and we will get in touch with you to have more details about how you can go ahead with the freebie that we have for you.
Yeah. Congratulations, Priya.
Thank you once again, everyone, for joining this session, and hope you all are doing great. All the best and stay home, stay safe out there. Thank you so much.